Hey, I'm James from Smoking At Barbecue, and I am coming at you with a quick and easy recipe, which is our family's favorite jalapeno popper dip and breadsticks. You know, you can cook this recipe no matter what outdoor grill you have, but I'm going to give the nod to my pizza oven today for the top-down broiling effect, but the dojo or something like that would work equally well if you happen to be lucky enough to have one. Otherwise, set your grill up for indirect cooking. We're going to go for a little bit higher than what I'm doing. I'm aiming for about 350 degrees. You might want to go for 400 to 450 degrees using your ceramic deflector plates to try and get enough convection air moving to simulate what I'm going to get outside of my La Pizza Piccolo wood-fired oven. But today's not about the tool, it's about the task, and our task is making my family's favorite jalapeno popper dip. Now, jalapeno, if you hear that and say, ooh, that's going to be a little bit spicy, don't worry. Even my youngest one at 11 years old can absolutely devour almost this entire dish on her own, left unattended. And the only complaint that we've ever had of it is that we didn't double the recipe. So I'll show you this recipe, but keep in mind, you may want to double it when you make it at home. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so at this point, we've already cleaned out our oven so there was no ash from our previous cook, and built a quick heat soak fire, which got some temperature. In about 5 minutes, we were seeing temps like 600 degrees. I've now transitioned to cooking wood, so these are 6-inch oak splits, and we are ready to char our jalapenos. Move our firewood around here. So now we've got a nice coal bed, and we'll drop in our 6 peppers, right like that, in the glowing coals. So we're just going to let those blister. I've got some tongs and a bowl with a bag. I'll transfer them once they're blistered into the bag. We'll seal that up, let it rest about 10 minutes so that the skins peel right off. I'll take you fast forward while we blister our peppers. While we're waiting for those to blister and our fire's dying down, this is a great time to start to preheat our next 4 wood splits so that they combust with no bad smoke when we're ready. So I'll just slide these in away from the open flames. So those look good. That's exactly what we want. Come on, focus. Move our coals to the back, place our fresh wood splits on, and right away that wood has combusted, isn't putting off any bad white smoke. Let's clean the rest of our deck, add in our next 2 wood splits in case we need them for our dip, and our door to help trap some heat. Start with a room temperature bar of cream cheese, Parmesan, cheddar, salt and garlic powder, our mayo, our now steamed jalapeno poppers, just sliding off the waxy skin part with paper towel. So now we'll deseed these. If you're following along, you can do this in any live fire. So if you have a Kamado Joe, big green egg, something like that, just while your grill's coming up to temperature, place these right in the front of your firebox, and you can impart some of that same great fire roasted flavor and get these to peel exactly like what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to remove the ends, split them open so I can run my knife along and remove the core and some of those seeds, and give these a fine dice so that they can fully incorporate into our mixture more easily. So there's 6 jalapenos in this recipe, but you can adjust to your family's heat tolerances. I do find when we take our time and remove the white part, not actually the seeds, most of the heat, the capsaicin comes from the pith, sort of the white seam down the side, that you can get away with adding a lot more. So let's mix this up just loosely with our spatula, and we can hit it with a blender. So that looks good. So now we want to transfer this to something we can cook in our oven. Fogo Charcoal sent me this a year or 2 ago, and I found it really handy. It's something on my pizza oven because we've got some ridges and a little bit of clearance. We're not going to burn the bottom, as well as some ridges on the inside. You can get away with a foil pan or something like that if you're not sitting on direct heat, but since I have it, it's going to be a great use case for it. I'll take a fast forward while I scrape our dip into our bowl. And last but not least, we're going to cover this with a layer of panko. This is breadcrumbs, but if you had the pork panko, that works really well on top as well. It gives a nice crunchy surface. Looks good. Into our oven. I'll get you right back to today's video, but first I want to thank my friends from Meter for making today's video possible. So I've been a customer and a fan of Meter since I bought my block back in 2020, and nearly 4 years on, I still absolutely love it for its multi-probe configuration, as well as its native Wi-Fi capabilities right out of the box, which means if I'm at the gym or cutting lawn, well, not today, it's getting dead of winter, not doing any of those things right now, but it makes it a breeze to keep track of my cook wherever I happen to be if I'm not in close proximity to my grill. So when there was the opportunity to test the Meter 2 Plus with extended Bluetooth 5.2 range, along with a host of other upgrades like 6 6 sensors. So this probe now has 5 internal sensors along with the ambient sensor, giving us 6 data points. In the past, you have to try and guess where to place your probe so you're getting an accurate information. And as I've learned is that these large cooks tend to cook from the outside, working their way in. So we could have gradient levels of doneness from well done to medium well to medium rare. By having 5 internal sensors, this made getting the perfect internal doneness on my tenderloin as well as my New York strip steak this year an absolute breeze. And because the Meter 2 Plus is just 5 millimeters thin, the hole was next to invisible. The Meter 2 Plus is completely waterproof, so not only can you throw this in the dishwasher like before, you can now use it in a submersible application like deep frying or sous vide cooking. Or if you're like me and a huge fan of live fire cooking, we've got massive upgrades on both the internal and the ambient sensors, allowing us to leave our probe in for that direct open fire sear. If you haven't seen my full unboxing video, I'll be sure to put a link down below. There's many more features I don't have time to cover in today's quick clip. Or if Santa missed you and you already know what you want and you got a little bit of money in your stocking, there's a link to go ahead and pick yourself up a Meter 2 Plus for the new year. While you're there, there's also a sale running for the rest of the year on the original Meter block. I believe it's a save 25% deal that expires at the end of December. So time is running out, but that's the end of my deal alert. I'm going to get you back to today's video. And again, after the video is done, be sure to check out the links down in the description below. So I can see in the time that it took to build our dip, our fire's died down a little bit. So let's add these wood chunks that we've preheated and our dip. I'm going to move that around just to manage the heat because we have some flames rolling from left to right over the top. So I'll spin that around, but it should be about 20 minutes. Let's get to work on our breadsticks. So we've got everything ready to make some breadsticks. I'm just using leftover pizza dough. I mentioned in my making Vito's dough recipe, I like to make the full recipe, which is about 10 balls, and then freezing some of those so that you have some extra pizza dough that you can on-thaw in about an hour or so's notice. Makes recipes like today come together really easily. So I'm just going to roll this out into a thin line. I don't know how many I'll need. I've got about 2.5 balls. I just mix them together, but these are a little bit lighter than the 50 grams or so what Vito's recipe would call for. I would say this is still a little bit cold to the touch, so this would stretch a little bit better if I gave it another half hour or so at room temperature, but we are losing daylight, so I thought we'd be ready to go now. Getting a little bit better here as we warm up. Even that last one was stretching a little bit more nicely. All right, here we go. Dip is nearly there. Put it in the back corner to really broil the top. Add in our breadsticks. Well, moment of truth. Let's dive in for our taste test. Breadsticks came out amazing despite the rough start. Cheers. So good. It is so easy and so much better than anything I've ever had out at a restaurant. And you can do this on any grill that you have and get a pretty similar result. But if you happen to have a pizza oven, its secret sauce is the broiler effect for that top-down heat, which is why I gave it the nod for today's cook. But trust me, you're gonna wanna try this no matter what grill you have available. It's an amazing treat. So whether you plan to make this for New Year's Eve, a big party, the football game, whatever, this dip is sure to win hearts and take no prisoners. It's absolutely amazing. That's it for today. I'm James from Smoking Dad Barbecue signing off. And remember, check out the website at www.smokingdadbarbecue.com for all the ingredients from today's recipe so you can make your own at home. See you next time.